All right, let's admit something here. We all know the GLP-1 works for weight loss. You can see anywhere from 12 to 20% body weight loss in most people that try it and use it. One weekly shot is what it boils down to. That is such a small, it's not even a daily pill. That's such a small amount of work. Um, for the benefits, it's insane. People, my friends that do it, my relatives, aunts, other folks that do it, their appetite drops. They stop thinking about food so much, which to me, when they talk about this, is one of the bigger things. They also talk about side effects, which is the reason why I kind of wanted to go into this video. Because for me, when I look at the option of whether I would do the shot or whether I would take other paths that get you to a similar place, um, uh, try and listen carefully to some of the smaller things they say about you do the shot and then you don't eat for 1 to 2 days because you feel kind of sick. Like the dream is that you stop thinking about food. Like you drive past McDonald's and you don't think about pulling in. You don't think about getting in your car to go to McDonald's or wherever you like to go to. You know, that sounds not only great for weight loss, but also great for just being more peaceful and happy in general. So let's dive a little bit into this and look at a comparison of GLP-1 shots versus potentially just $10 worth of fiber foods and see what we can find out. Because what I want to know as an engineer is, can we engineer something that does the same thing for a lot less money? And possibly give us other benefits. And let's go ahead and take a look. So one of the big things I didn't like about GLP-1 when I heard about it is that same, like, you'll reduce 15% of your body fat. And if you actually do the math on like 15-20% of your body fat, that's, you start at 250 pounds and that gets you down to 200. But are you going to look good if, as an example, you're a 5'10" tall man? And the other kind of big downside is, like, you stop taking the shot, it stops working, and you gain the weight back. And they tell you that. They're very honest about it. They're not lying. So when we look at this, like 250 to 200, and no judgment to anybody, like, I'm not at my perfect weight, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you went from like overweight or obese just down one notch, would that be enough? And these percentages are not the same as the percentage we mentioned before. These percentages are percentage total body fat, or do you want to trying to get to this is ridiculous, because this is almost just as much work as this, and in a different total direction. And who wants to be there? Not me. But like, I don't want to just stop at like, okay, like, it'd be nice to get a little bit further, so you're a little bit closer to what you were in like your ideal high school or ideal college weight, not just like going from 300 pounds to 250 pounds. That might be great for diabetes and certain things, but it's not going to necessarily make you feel your best if you're trying to look a little bit better. And again, no judgment to anybody where folks are at, but for me personally, I just kind of want to get to the places I've gotten to in the past where I was at like kind of my best weight. And people noticed that, like, I had arms and stuff like that. And a big part of that obviously is exercise too. But that's kind of where I'm going with this video, is that GLP-1 gets you part of the way, but not necessarily all of the way, depending on where you want to get to. So the other thing I noticed too is like, like when it comes to fiber, at least I found that fiber is easy at solving certain problems, like say cholesterol, hard at solving other problems like weight loss. And the reason is, cholesterol, you change your foods and you can drop that thing fast. Like I was able to drop, I don't have the points off the top of my head, but I was able to get my LDL under 80 in less than 2 weeks. And it wasn't that much higher than that. I think it was at like 120 or something, and then got down to 80. And you can do that really quickly if you put enough soluble fiber in there. And then if you can figure out a system to keep that going, you'll be good to go forever. That's a quick thing and relatively easy. You just swap out some meals. But weight loss is a harder beast because you got fast food everywhere. You got, this happened yesterday for me, you got cookies at the office. yeah, stress happens a lot and it makes you eat things. There go my puppies. Maybe you don't have enough time to cook or do whatever you want to do, blah, blah, blah. Weight loss can be very painful, and painful as in like a lot of work. Whereas GLP-1, the magic of it, one shot, that is not fun to have a shot, but whatever, it's once a week. And then you don't have to think about anything else. Everything else falls into place for weight loss, at least, not necessarily for cholesterol. You can't get away from inside issues unless you fix the food issues. But that's for a little bit later. So what the shot actually does, it acts on your brain and appetite centers. It slows stomach emptying. It reduces your hunger signaling. It blunts the reward response, blah, blah, blah. You think about food less and you stop eating earlier than you normally would. Like, even if your burrito is absolutely delicious and in all times in the past you would finish the whole thing, you just don't finish it anymore. Or you just don't even want the burrito and you just sit at the dinner table and hang out. That's the kind of magic of GLP-1. It's almost like the mental freedom as much as it is the food freedom and the weight loss. Think about food less, eat anything you want, still lose weight because you're not eating as much of it. But you might end up skinny fat. That might not be where you want to end, or maybe it is, and that's fine. But you have to do the shot for the rest of your life. Like, how many people do you know that did the shot for like 1 month, lost 10 to 15 pounds, and then somehow stopped doing the shot and then they didn't gain it back? I doubt you know anybody that's like that. That's why people do bariatric surgery, because there's no going back. You don't have to worry about stopping it, or dealing with $1,000, $1,200, whatever it is a month, because you just can't go back. And what people I don't think talk about enough is that even if you don't change what you're eating, it doesn't matter if you're able to think about food less and just eat less and get to like even a good weight. You might not be the best that you can be on the inside if you're still eating the kind of foods that lead on the path to heart disease and lead on the path to other problems. I mean, we're still figuring all this out, but I think most people know that like junk food is not good, and all diets that work, the times that they work is really they're just getting you to eat slightly less junk food and eat slightly more of healthier whole foods, whatever that definition is. So, real question for me, is not so much can I get, at first my question was, can I get fiber to kind of match the benefits of GLP-1 and help with weight loss? And if you watch my 28-day series I have on here on fibermaxing, you'll find that it wasn't that successful to me. But what it did, and this is not a picture of me, but what it did point out for me is that like when I started using fiber as my potential tool for weight loss, I got benefits I didn't expect, like the crushing of the cholesterol, some mood benefits. I did not get more tan or pecs. I still haven't like added in my exercise habits yet, but those are in the works. But like, that's kind of what I realized then and I realize now, and everybody probably also kind of knows, like, you take GLP-1 or get bariatric surgery, you're going to get thinner, but you're not going to get all the other things that you can get. And if you form a plan, a structure that involves not just fiber, but fiber is kind of like, it's a means of saying like, oh, you're eating healthier foods. You're eating whole foods where the fiber hasn't been stripped out. It's going to make you more full and you'll eat a little bit less. But if you add in some exercise and some other aspects, you can get a lot more than what GLP-1 can give you alone. So, in some of those things that fiber does, if you look into when you eat more fiber, what it actually does for you, it's very similar to GLP-1. It's bulkier, so it'll end up stretching your stomach, and that hits those stretch receptors that make you feel more full. It slows down the movement of everything through your emptying out of your stomach, going through your intestines. GLP-1 does that. It stabilizes blood sugar. If you eat a lot of beans, just go online and look at the folks that take on the 4-hour body slow carb diet and eat beans with every meal, and then they actually measure with a continuous glucose monitor their blood sugar levels. It really blunts those spikes. So if adding high fiber things like beans can really do a lot for this. And then, it also increases the natural satiety hormones. It produces very, very small amounts of this GLP-1 naturally in your body, nowhere near the amount that you get from the injection, which is why the injection works so well. It's basically supercharging a natural system built off of fiber anyways. But I find that if you can get the same thing from fiber at way less cost and then potentially add on some other stuff and get some other benefits that you wouldn't get with GLP-1 alone, then why not do that? If all you have to do is add on some exercise and you can get more muscle and, have fiber like through finding like better quality meals, not just eating less junk food, like it can take you way further than GLP-1 ever possibly could. Which is why I'm just looking for ways to keep selling myself on the whole fiber thing. And that is what this whole video is about. So going back to it, GLP-1, I remember like the big thing, you just think about food less. That's a big deal for me. And can fiber do that? Sort of. And let's dive into it a little bit. It helps you eat less. Yes. And it gets you part way to goals. You lose a bunch of body weight with very, very, very little effort. And that cannot be understated. And that can get you even a lot of internal goals. Like if you look up Dr. Roy Taylor's direct study that he did on helping people to reverse and get rid of type 2 diabetes, its simple methodology was you just need to get the fat out of your liver and pancreas. And like the reason Ozempic is a diabetes drug is because it helps you do that. Like, but its goal is not to give you a beach body. Its goal is just to kind of, the original goal was to help you get rid of diabetes. And I think it does that great because it gets you to eat less. And then that gets the fat out of your liver and pancreas. Wonderful. It works. But if you have bigger goals and want other things, you want to go and a little bit further, you could combine fiber and GLP-1, I suppose. I just wouldn't want to pay the money if fiber can do everything with a little couple tweaks. And again, the fiber path that we're talking about here, if you want those extra benefits, you got to change what you eat. And some exercise will help improve your body composition. Beyond the blood sugar and fat in the liver and pancreas internal improvements, you can go further and start like what I want personally, because I have higher cholesterol issues, is to get that lower so that my probability of living longer and my probability of not having heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, bad endpoints, that's what I want. And I can't get that from just a lower weight. Like you need to change the diet as well. Like I did that. I lost weight before and my cholesterol was still sky high. I had to change what I was eating in order to get that to change. So let's go over some real kind of simple things that you can do. If you want to do fiber things to get some GLP-1 benefits, think about food less, so on and so forth. If you like them, I would say go for beans every single day. I do that and I don't mind beans. I find beans and ways of eating them that I like. I would say Chipotle is a big one for me. I also have a lot of bean recipes that I do at home with the Instapot that I really like. As well as other high fiber things like barley or oats. Once you find the recipes that are not a big deal for you to cook, and all mine are pretty much Instapot bulk, and then I'm set for days. That's the secret to all of this. If you can do beans, because beans have higher fiber and more protein, and so they're more generally filling than the other high fiber foods. But if you can't do beans, there are other ways around it. You just need to figure out a couple of high fiber, fixed calorie meals and put them on repeat. Now that's more annoying and more work than just one shot a week, of course, but like in the long run, you're going to get benefits that you wouldn't get from just the weekly shot, so on and so forth. And then another big thing that you can do is if you can swap out calorie-laden sodas and juice with just water and coffee, it's going to automatically, on average, not just lower your calories, but it's going to get rid of hunger triggers. Because I find with diet soda, which I do still drink, but I do it in the middle of like eating windows, because if I try and have it when I haven't eaten, it'll make me hungry, and it'll kind of like, if there are cookies at the office or what have you not, those things will be harder to fight. So I find that liquid calories a lot of times can lead to that thinking about food more. Whereas if I just skip them and just have my black coffee in the morning, and and stick to my like high fiber meals, especially as the first meal of the day, then a lot of the food thinking for me goes away, at least. Eat less automatically. For me, I build that into like fixed meals. Like I have a set thing I get at Chipotle, or I have a set thing that I get with bean burritos at Taco Bell. And that's my worst case scenario, high fiber meals. but and at home I have a bunch of like their fixed 5 to 600 calorie, sometimes up to 26 grams of fiber in each meal, recipes that I just repeat over and over again. So that's how I do it. This stuff can be incredibly filling. Like this is just beans and rice, oatmeal with lots of berries is the secret. Potatoes, I've done the potato hack. That can, even just a straight up potato hack, by the way, if you do the math, ends up being a high fiber diet because just 2,000 calories of straight potatoes has about 40 to 50 grams of fiber in it, which is way more than most people get, even if you eat absolutely nothing else with them. But that's not a fun way to do it. It's easier to pair them with lentils or something tasty, lentils and vegetables. So uh, we talked about this a little bit before. No offense to any of the folks out there. And if you're using stuff and it's working for you, keep doing it. But people joke about Ozempic face online with the sad droopiness. And I don't think people talk about, it's not Ozempic insights. I'm not necessarily like saying that happens to you. I'm just coming up with fancy titles. But like, if you don't change what you eat, it doesn't matter if the tools that you're using get you to certain endpoints. You know, you can't eat pizza and ice cream every single day and have healthy insides. You know, you can eat them later. And if you can do it like your grandma did and just do it, no one does this. No one does like eating like these kind of foods for just, you know, the holidays and let's say 2 holidays a year and like their birthday. No, but if you can get it down to like once a week, like I think you'll be better off than what a lot of us do, which is we eat this stuff a lot. I go through binge periods of, if I start eating the like grillers and roller things at 7-Eleven, I can't stop thinking about them. So I have to like go through this period of time. And this isn't just a fiber thing. It's just like a addictive food thinking thing. Like I can't taste that stuff at all and or smell it because it just restarts my desire for this stuff. But again, this is just part of the, like, if you don't change what you eat, it doesn't matter if you use tools to get thinner, like you could be like worse off on the inside. So let's talk about this thing because it was in the beginning. $10 of fiber. What does that mean? Well, $10 of fiber, it's very, very easy to come up with high fiber meals that cost anywhere from $2 to $3 per meal. So sometimes less than $2. Some folks can do it for like a dollar and a half. It depends on how you do it. But like these wet starches, as they are called, like dry beans, cooked rice, oats, potatoes, barley, buckwheat, so on and so forth. A lot of these things that are high fiber grains and cooked potatoes and tubers and stuff of that nature, they're super cheap. They're the like cheapest source of calories in the grocery store. It's pretty much why the healthiest humans on earth, they all eat combos of these things because they're so cheap. Like if you were growing your own food, anywhere in the world, you would lean towards these things. You would grow beans because you don't think of protein. We'd only discovered protein like what, 150 years ago as a separate thing, but you would do them because they just got you more full and they were easy to grow. You would grow rice or oats or whatever worked for your climate. And that's what you see in these different climates and different like cultures around the world. They basically blend beans and grains or tubers. You know, they have some intense starchy thing and then they mix it with a higher protein starchy thing and then they add in vegetables basically for taste. So vegetables and meats, they're sprinkled on as taste things or like special occasion, kill the goat, blah blah blah, but they're not the center of the meal. Even vegetables, like you can't go to a subsistence farming culture and like try and convince them to grow and eat more lettuce because they have to do this to feed their family and they don't have unlimited time and they have kids to take care of and they have water to haul or whatever the situation is in the worst case scenario. Like if, you know, I used to work with Engineers Without Borders and seeing the folks that were hauling their own water and then what they were growing. I remember them saying like people came in to try and get them to have like to grow more lettuce and grow fish so that they could have more protein. But the reality is they were already getting plenty of protein for themselves through the potatoes they were eating and the beans they were eating. And for outsiders to come in and say, please grow more fish or raise fish and then, you know, use their waste products to like grow lettuce, they were being laughed at. Lettuce, what a joke. People intuitively, not that lettuce is bad, I eat it constantly, but like that is like a higher level of health. You know, the base, for ideal weight and ideal health, just eat your rice and beans and be good with it, and then add vegetables to it to increase the nutrition, but the vegetables are not the core. Like the core could be these things. Like this is what's going to get you your GLP-1 benefits at the lowest cost. So think less about food, look better at the beach, get your better lower LDL and better insides. This is what I'm going for. This is where like it's not proven to do it with this way, though I have gotten my LDL tested eating this way and it's worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. But that's the path that I'm on, the $10 fiber path. Though I tend to eat just 2 meals a day. And so that's $6, I guess. So what do you want to do? The shot or the fiber? For me, when I ask myself that question, like I already had the answer for myself, at least. Like I want to do the fiber just because the fiber is more fun. I'm an engineer, scientist, tinkerer. I like to tweak things, to experiment and do all that kind of stuff. And for me, there's a lot more fun to be had in the fiber path because I can always try out new meals. Like recently I went on this thing of like, I got to a Chipotle right when they opened and I asked for the brown rice and it wasn't ready yet. And she's like, I'll make it. And she ran around the back where they already had all the things set aside. They just hadn't mixed them yet. And she like dumped the brown rice into this giant bowl. And then she dumped a huge amount of cilantro on it, leafy greens, and then she added 2 tablespoons, it looked like, of salt, and then poured this kind of lemony liquid mixture, which must have been like lemon and oil or something like that, and stirred it all up, and then their brown rice stuff was ready. And then I went home and I made my own version of that, except I have barley here, and I really like barley. I like the chewiness of it, and so I basically made my own like barley, Chipotle lime cilantro rice recipe or what have you, whatever you want to call it. And I just eat those same things over and over and over again. I am just starting to get back into lifting hard. It's a little difficult for me to do with a baby, but I'm going to see how that goes. And yeah, if you do this for yourself, I think you'd be surprised if you get your LDL measured at like Quest, like I do. You might be surprised if you start eating a lot more fiber every day, what it's going to do for your like heart health and stuff. So, and again, I'm no doctor. I can't say it's going to do anything good for you for the future, what have you not. Work on all this with your doctor. But if you went to your doctor and said, I want to eat more beans, I don't think they're going to say no. I want to eat more like barley and oats. I don't think they're going to have a problem with that. Like we don't need to get into an argument with them on like if it's better than GLP-1. That's for your doctor to decide. But it's never a bad thing to eat more whole foods. So if you want to do other stuff with me, you can watch my kind of like the results of my Fibermaxx 28-day experiment. I have that on YouTube. Or if you want like some of the meals that I eat regularly, you can pick up this high fiber meal kit. You can get it at the link here, which should be in the description. If for whatever reason you can't click it, then just go to my website. This is not it. This is something, this is related, but it's from ConvertKit, so that they deliver this automatically to your email. So I use them, but my website is just levelingupafter40.com, and 40 is spelled out. So that's it. And I'll see you next time.